without further ado, it is my pleasure to welcome today's first speaker, Tom Juton, Executive Vice President with Ipsos Innovation Practice. Tom, you have the floor.
So why are we here today? When we really think about what is the purpose of the market research industry, it's to help our clients make bold decisions at the speed of business. And what I mean by this is bold. They have to help companies grow and beat the competition in a very hyper-competitive environment, and it has to be done at the speed and with the budgets that our clients live within. And when we think about bold, it's really about the cost of failure has never been higher. Getting in a hyper-competitive market, being just a few months late to a market space could make you a Me Too, third or fourth entrant, permanently relegating you to half the size you could have been. New product reviews are almost instantly available once a product hit the market, and communication mistake can be shared via social media with key customers within hours. So the risk of being bold and wrong is higher than ever. So we have introduced Ipsos.Digital, which is the idea of taking a research-led and creating a technology platform to help clients make better, faster decisions. And I want to reemphasize the point on researcher-led. Most of our competitors are actually technology companies that develop platforms and interfaces and are trying to figure out the market research as they go. We took the opposite approach. We took Ipsos' commitment to world-class, world-leading market research and depth of understanding, and then linked it to a platform that would allow our clients to make better, faster decisions using those validated measures that have been created by market research experts versus the opposite approach. And when you work with us, you can accelerate with confidence. When using high quality research, you can cut the odds of failure by up to 50%. And these include decision-worthy insights using validated predictive measures. Ipsos.Digital is also a single suite of solutions that integrates concept to creative, where we're aligning our software with your business planning processes, and it's fast and it's affordable, so you can move forward without compromise. And for this session, I will go into the innovation-specific offering. For context or to level set, as we all know, 9 out of 10 new products failed. Only 1 in 10 is either big enough or incremental enough to be sustained past the first few months of launch. But by applying discipline and rigor to this decision process, you can reduce that failure rate by half. In one case study example, the difference between a low performing product in terms of consumer intent and interest versus a high performing innovation is 60%. By launching the product that has the best scores, you can increase your total sales by 60%, as well as offset all of the opportunity costs of launching a suboptimal product, the lost shelf space, the lost credibility, as well as the lost revenue. And our solutions span the entire breadth of the planning process. From one perspective, you can look at what are the actual claims, names, product concepts that you want to screen quickly, to understanding what you want to understand from a concept perspective, how good an idea is, how big is that opportunity, and then finally, how do you then make sure that you stand out on shelf and win the first moment of trial. So InnoTest, which is the foundation of what we do, it's a world-class version of concept testing where we can look at ideas from pre-concept all the way to fully developed concepts. We can help put them in the proper competitive context as defined by our consumers and then provide results within hours. And those results include not only how high quality these concepts are, but what the size of the opportunity should be or could be within plus or minus 10%. Next, we have a tool called Dual, where we can look at claims, names in a quick screening environment so you can understand pre-concept, what are the names and claims and attributes you want to push, but then also understand post-concept, what are the names, claims, and attributes that you can add back in a very quick, almost instant fashion, get consumer feedback on ways to optimize that concept, both as you're developing it and then post-assessment. And finally, the latest addition to our digital platform is FastPack. The ability to actually look at a package in the proper context is, in our mind, a game changer. The idea of understanding, in a lot of ways, the most important attribute for trial is the packaging, and it is now part of the IpsosDigital platform. It was literally just launched last month, rounding out our innovation suite of services.
Okay, so you've gone through the innovation process. Now it's time for marketing. Start to looking at advertising and how you can support this product launch with some advertising across different channels. That's where creative excellence solutions come into the mix. So the first thing to reiterate here is something that we've known for years, which is that creative quality itself is the most important driver of ad effectiveness. More than brand size, more than how you deploy media and targeting, it's actually how good that piece of creative itself that drives the biggest difference in how much return you get for that investment. And actually, when you look at that across the differences of weak, strong, and average creative, when it's strong creative, it can be as much as 89% of the variance that's driven. It overshadows any media or brand weakness by just having strong creative. So the key thing here is, how can we get to that strong creative and make sure that we're airing the right creative that will see those higher returns? So here, this is where our validations come in, because we know that creative quality is even more critical with tight media budgets. On the left-hand side is our market mix validations to the measures you get through all of our creative solutions, showing the difference in indexed sales lift for low, average, and high performers. Translated this to the sorts of numbers that we look at even in smaller media budgets. If you were to spend $5 million on an average ad, you would have to spend $6 million just to get the same impact from a low ad. Or you only need to spend $3.8 million on a high performing ad, seeing a difference there in $2.2 million in what you have to spend just to get the same return between running low and high performing creative. That gives you two options. You can cut and repurpose budgets, you can spend that elsewhere, or you can continue to invest in those higher quality creatives and see outsized gains versus the competition. So how can we help you in this? Creative research is the cheat code for this marketing ROI. There's two options that you have here. You can use research to pick the strongest assets before launch. You have a number of assets produced or very close to produced, and you want to know which ones are going to give you those higher returns before you launch it. But the other option is to start earlier and use research to improve and optimize that creative. So before you finalize the creative, screening out those options, but learning how to make them better so that you get more of those high performers overall. And it's worth at this point calling out, particularly in the digital space, A/B testing has become something of a norm. It's often the go-to solution in terms of weeding out those weaker creative. But it isn't all that it's cracked up to be there, because sometimes you don't get that A/B testing until weeks into a campaign, and you've already spent quite a few invested dollars on those wrong assets, and by the time you correct, you've already wasted some of that money. A/B testing is also often based on inaccurate predictors of ROI, such as viewability and clicks, which aren't as correlated to actual brand growth as our validated sales metrics are from the Creative Spark solutions. And it's too late to make real changes to the creative. You may be able to swap in and out, but you can't really redo and improve the creative from start to finish once you're in the A/B testing environment. Often you're just picking the slightly less worse option as opposed to really optimizing towards the strongest creative you could have had. So again, as you go to IpsosDigital, as Tom said, here's where our world-class solutions sit. All of them available in both DIY and also a researcher-assisted environment. So if you ever get stuck, you might even start doing a DIY, but you want someone from Ipsos to take over, it's one click away to move into that researcher-assisted solution. We looked at Dual with Tom. That works just as well for creative elements, such as images that would go into the creative, taglines, screening out end cards with different product shots and claims at the end of the ad, or even working for static ads like Instagram. It's a great way to screen through a high volume of assets. Then when you get to the more pure pre-testing options, you have Creative Spark, which is our flagship tool for full video in clutter. So whether that's OLV, connected TV, linear TV, If people are going to view that video from start to finish around other pieces of Creative Spark is the way to go. We also have Ipsos.Digital, which is essentially the same product with the same measures that are comparable across the solutions. But here we change the context and we'll put it in TikTok, in YouTube, in Facebook, and understand how it performs in those live digital environments. And finally, the new solution available here is Creative Spark Early, which takes away some of that cluttered exposure and allows you to get a cleaner read early on very rough creative. Doesn't have to look finished. It can be very rough storyboards, can be manifesto text or videos, can be boardomatics, anything like that. It gives you that flexibility to optimize before you get to production. So let's look at Creative Spark. So the key thing here is the in-cluttered ad exposure. This is a real-world exposure, and all of the metrics that you get are based on behavioral science. So we don't look if this model is going to predict people will remember the ad. We just measure whether people do actually remember seeing the ad in clutter and whether they can spontaneously name the brand that the ad was for from debranded stills. So it's a very pure measure of understanding whether you're going to get those branded impressions. On top of that, we couple that with data science and neuroscience, giving facial coding as a standard diagnostic with every video test, validated metrics to sales outcomes, as we already talked about, and all of the results are available hours after the close of field on an online interactive dashboard where you can look at this round of results, compare it to any previous results that you've tested with the IpsosDigital platform before, and it's all available there at your fingertips. And then if you're not quite ready for that in clutter finished or close to finished piece of Creative Spark Early is here for that early stage and pre-production. So this is to screen through those video boards, those scripts, those those ideas that you have for new creative directions. It's for lower risk initiatives where maybe you don't need that high value quant and qual that we offer in our other solutions, but you just want to screen through some initial ideas and know where to give some direction before the agency goes towards final production, before the scripts are finalized. Let's get some feedback at that really early stage and understand which direction is the strongest. So at this point, I'll hand over to Alison to give you a demo of the IpsosDigital platform in action.
Thanks, Ped. So today I'm going to give you a brief little demonstration of the IpsosDigital platform. When you first log into your account, you will see a main screen here that shows you all the various different solutions that are available on the platform for you to use on your own or again in researcher assisted mode. Since both Ped and Tom talked a bit about Dual, and that happens to be something that cuts across many different topic areas, that's what we're going to use today for our demo. So all you have to do is click Start Your Project. Once you're in here, I'm just going to pick the demo here. You will see your client name only here. You are going to see some fields here that might not be fully available in the client mode, but just bear with me as I populate these so that before we advance to the actual setup. Okay, so once you're in the main setup, this is where you're going to set up your study. You are going to pick your country of field. This is where you'll be able to see all the countries that are available for the particular solution that you selected. So for this, I'm going to pick the US. We're going to be testing 9 pieces of stimulus. Here it'll tell you you can pick between 4 and 100. You then are able to pick your category in which the study is about. And so in this case, we're going to be doing a granola bar example. So we are going to select food. There's 2 different features here. So you can select a pre-created audience if you wanted to, or you can create your own custom target for a specific initiative. For this purpose of the demo, we're going to pick Gen Pop, and it's going to pre-populate all of the gender and age quotas for the study based on census data. So you can play around with these. If you wanted to make it a split 50-50 male-female, you can go ahead and do that. If you wanted to add another age group break, you can also do that as well. And then you can also click to choose additional quotas. So if there's anything on top of age, gender, and region that you want to include, you would pick that. And then lastly, you're going to pick your incidence rate for your study. So since this is Gen Pop, it'll be 80 to 99. There's also options here to have reporting by various different subgroups. I'm just going to quickly change my currency. It's defaulting to Mexico here, pesos. This way you can see the actual costs, because as you're building your study, you can see the costs as well as the timing and how long it's going to take. So there are some additional features you can add. So with Dual, you can add cuts among males and females. You can include them by specific age breaks. We also offer our scaled metrics as well. So this is relevancy, differentiation, and believability. Let's go ahead and just add that so you can see how the pricing is dynamic while you're in here. And then you can also indicate if you're going to have custom questions. So this is either at the project level or at the stimuli level. So it really depends on what you're testing. So let's go ahead and assume we're going to have one custom question in this test. And then when you're done with all your selections, you're going to click this check feasibility, and it's just going to do a quick check to make sure that everything that we've put in and selected for this particular study is actually going to be feasible based on the current traffic to the website as well as panel availability at that time. So this just takes a quick minute to run. Okay, and then it's going to let you know if it's feasible. So here at the bottom, it's saying this is feasible, and we can move ahead to the next step. So in this next step, you're able to define some additional screening criteria. So if you wanted to add a specific demographic question, all of the standard, Ipsos demographic questions are available to you. You can either scroll through the whole list, or you could just type in something specific that you're looking for. And you can also add your own custom screening questions as well. In the interest of time, I'm not going to show this to you today, but you can add up to 11 custom screening questions if you want to further refine in on the sample criteria and people you're wishing to speak to. So we're just going to press ahead with just a standard Gen Pop sample. Now we're going to move to the phase where we're actually going to set up the actual survey. So we're going to give the project a name. So we're just going to call this granola demo. And then you have 3 different options for stim type with Dual. You could do text only, you could do image only, or you could do image and text. We're going to do image only. Okay. And then you could either upload your images and give them a reporting name one by one, or you can upload multiple images at once. So we're going to choose upload multiple images at once. And these are all the flavors of granola that we're going to test today. So we're going to attach that. It's going to tell me the number of images selected, and then we're going to press continue. And it's going to upload these images, and you can see what they look like, and you'll also be able to see the reporting label that will be tied to each of them, which is pulled right from the name of the stim as it's labeled and saved on your computer. So you could definitely tweak these if you want to, or need to make them more clear on the back end for yourself. So once that's done, we're going to advance to the next step of this, which is where we'll be able to add our custom introduction to the study. So here you're going to pick what you're actually testing. So today we're testing flavors. Then you could put in a brief little introduction that respondents will see, which will just put something simple for purposes of the demo. You can also upload another piece of stim or image for context. So what we have just to show you here today is just an introduction picture of what this granola bar, might look like so that people can ground themselves. And then from there, you're able to pick from, whether or not you want them to choose between what they prefer, be most interested in buying, or define something yourself. So for this, we'll just pick most interested in buying. And then in the below here, you're going to see what respondents will see. So this is exactly what respondents will see in the survey when they get to the main exercise. Once you're good with what you're seeing here, you can press continue. And this is where it'll take you to the part of the setup where you can identify your own custom questions. So it just takes a minute to get all the stim loaded into the main survey. And then here you're able to add your ad hoc questions. So here we're going to add a question. It gives you two options. It can be before or after the core questions. In most instances, you're going to add it after. So we're just going to quickly add a question here to show you how this would work. So let's say you want to add a custom question, an attribute question around the different flavors you're testing. You would just drop in the text for your question there. You would ask if you wanted to ask this for all items or certain items. We're going to ask it for all. And then you're going to be able to pick your question type. So here you can see there's many different types of custom questions you can add, from single answer to sliders to open-end to ranking. In this case, it's going to be a grid question. What's nice about these grid questions is there is this option here to the left where you can insert all of the what you want for the rows and columns without having to sit there and type them all in. So we're going to put our attributes in, and we are going to put in our columns for the selections. We're going to hit add answers, and they populate in here. You can have them randomize or rotate if you'd like, and then all you have to do is hit save question, and then that question will become part of your core survey that respondents will take. That's when you're all done. You can also test your survey. So I won't click this button today, but there is a button where you can click this and it'll take you to the survey, and you could take it as if you were one of the respondents and make sure all your stim looks nice and all your questions are correctly set up. When you're done, you're going to hit this continue button, which is going to take you to the launch to field verification screen. So once we're in field and everything's done, you're going to get an alert from the IpsosDigital platform letting you know your results are able to be viewed in a digital dashboard. So here is that same granola pilot study that we just set up. And we're able to look at the objectives overall. So what were the things that we tested and who did we test that among? We also are able to look at the key findings here. So you're able to see your promise score, which is a key output from every dual study, and how the different flavors are performing. So we have 2 flavors that are performing really well. You're also able to see the detailed findings looking at the core key measures that are assessed in dual, which are preference, punch, and promise. And if you click these different arrows, you can sort and rank the data by different variables right in the platform. You'll also get a quad map output that maps preference and punch against each other. So you're able to see if those items that were preferred also generate a strong level of conviction. And then any custom questions that you have will also appear in the digital dashboard. You can also export your findings to either Excel or PowerPoint to distribute more broadly with your organization. And lastly, there's always this handy methodology reminder tab. So if you need to, answer any questions around the method, or you have any questions around the method, this is also available to you as well in the reporting dashboard. So with that, I will turn it back over to Tom to wrap things up today.
First, to say thank you for your time, and I just want to help you remember, or hopefully highlight a couple key points. One, this is a DIY or research-assisted platform that was created by market researchers first, technology companies second. The platform offers expertise in behavioral science and competitive analysis, which gives you a very comprehensive understanding of your consumer desires and needs. And it takes you just beyond data, providing a comprehensive, complete understanding of the market with the speed, simplicity, and substance you need to make good decisions. Business has ever moved this fast before and will never be this slow again, but we want to be with you on that journey to helping you achieve your business objectives. Back to you, Ellen.
Wow, I just really like to thank Tom and Pat and Allison for today's great demo. And thank you everyone for joining us. Feel free to send us directly some questions. We will be getting back to everyone directly in person, and also be on the lookout for a direct link to today's recorded presentation that should be coming in the next couple of days. That concludes today's amazing webinar. Have a wonderful day, everyone.